to be sharing with you in this video how to stop waiting to be saved and take your power back so that you can actually start aligning with the identity that you choose for yourself instead of something that you believe you have to do, or that's something that somebody chooses for you. But instead, you start to take your power back and start to think independently, think for yourself, generate your own values, your own thoughts, and generate your own opinions about how you see the world and how you want to show up. And so the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to do this and stop waiting for this magical moment where somebody saves you, take your power back, is to understand that no one is going to save you. No one is going to come save you. There's not going to be some magic, as cynical as it sounds, and it's not to be cynical, it's not to be upset, it's just to see the truth that only you can save yourself. And that's not to say that there's not going to be guides, that there's not going to be support, that there's not going to be, mentors and people that are possibly and are more wise than you. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, we need to 100% honor the fact that we're 100% connected to our environment and we're not separated from our environment. Like, we're completely connected to everything and every person in our life. And even the people that are not connected in our life, we're still connected to even them in some type of way. We're connected to everybody and everything in some type of way. So once we realize this, also at the same time, though, we need to remember nobody is going to do it for you. They might be there with you along your healing journey, along you becoming the person that you want to be, but nobody's going to do the work for you. Nobody's going to help you to be who you want to be truly, in the sense that they can't make those choices for you. They can't make you take action. Nobody can make you do anything. You have to do it yourself. So you can look at it from a cynical perspective, or you can look at it from a positive perspective, or constructive perspective, perhaps is a better word, because the truth is that you can see everything for what it is. Of course, I do believe that there is right and there is wrong in life. And then when somebody says that, there's just no such thing as, right and wrong, and everything is just is, that's true. But at the same time, though, we have to remember that if we can't think independently, if we can't decide our own opinions, if we can't think about how we want to decide our values, how we want to show up, what is going to be the contrast between right and wrong? There's always going to be room for people just doing whatever it is that they want to do. And that's okay. There's a safe space for that at certain times in life. But from another perspective, we have to remember that independence is not just a luxury, it's almost a necessity. Because if you don't have independence, what's going to start to happen is that you quite literally give your thinking power away to other things and people, and you're kind of not even like your own person in a sense. And that's really sad to see. So what happens is that we can't develop properly because of this. People literally when you talk about stagnation, well, what is stagnation? It can affect a person's development. It can affect how they develop their skill sets. Some people have more skill sets and more development in certain areas of life simply because they took more responsibility to become who they want to be. And it's not that they didn't have mentors, it's not that they didn't have guides, it's not that they did it alone. Because remember, I don't believe in doing it alone. It might sound contrasting to the point that I'm making, but I don't believe in doing anything alone. But at the same time, though, if a person wants to increase their skill sets, they have to choose to be who they want to be. Whether this process happens consciously or unconsciously, people are taking on identities on a consistent basis. What I'm claiming here is to take it a step further. It is not just to choose an identity, but to do this process consciously, because it's already been happening. That's the truth of the matter here, is that every single moment that we go through our life, we are choosing an identity and we're choosing to be a person. So why not do this consciously, so that then you can be an independent thinker. Think for yourself, generate your own opinions, realize that people are there to support you, but nobody can do the work. Nobody can do become the person that you want to be for you. You have to become the person that you want to be. And so the second thing that I want to share with you in this video might sound a little bit airy-fairy and a little bit spiritual, a little bit, out there, a little bit outlandish, but the truth is that you are the healer. And what I mean by you are the healer is that in any scenario This is not medical advice. This is not any type of specific advice, business advice or anything. But the truth is that in any scenario, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, on any single level, I find, even financial, whatever the case is, we have to remember that, again, we have support systems, but you become the person that heals the situation. How do you heal? Well, healing is a decision to move forward into a different person and to simply not forget about the past, not to say that the past didn't happen, not to say that forget about all the situations that hurt you, because you can't forget that process. You can't forget that stuff that happened to you. Nobody's saying to forget that stuff that happened to you. But what we're saying is to remember that you become the healer in the sense that you choose to be the person that you want to be, and you simply move forward from the past. And of course, that's a whole different conversation here. I'm sure you're already on board with that. But the simple situation is that once you get to the other side of that, which you've probably already seen in your life, in many cases, most likely, you've probably seen, right? Once you get to the other side of that quote unquote trauma, you don't even see it as a trauma anymore because you realize that you were creating all the resistance on top of that. See, of course, something happened and we need to honor the situations that hurt us. Of course, there's very negative situations that hurt us. But then remember that you, in the end, are the healer. And what that really means is that when all that negative stuff happens, at some point, nobody can choose to let it go but you. And of course, it's going to be tough. But we need to remember that we can have therapy, we can have coaching, we can have mentors, we can have guides, we can have friends, we can have family. But it's you are the healer. It goes back to no one's going to save you. But this is a different point in the sense that the healing part of it is that once you've embodied the identity, once you embody who you want to be, once you get to the other side of that shadow, you might really be thankful for all the people that were there for you. You might feel like you couldn't have done it without them. 100%, that's undoubtedly so. There's no chance you could have got to the result without the support of maybe your friends, your family, your coach, and your mentors, and all the resources that you had, right? You know that for a fact. But then you look at it and you're like, well, in the end, I was the one that healed myself, though. That's what you're going to realize, is that you heal yourself in the end and you're the one doing it. And then so it's almost like a paradox if you think about it. On the one level, you are the healer. Nobody outside of you can heal you. You are the spiritual master of your own reality. You choose to let go of the resistance. You choose to let go of the negative beliefs and not see them but not believe in them. You choose to take action because you're willing to, regardless of the negativity, and you choose to move forward into a better world for yourself because you want this, right? It's all about you. On the other side, though, we're interdependent as humans, and we really do need each other. We definitely do depend on each other in many different ways that I think a lot of people simply are either unaware of, or they just don't really want to be aware. They're not excited to be aware of it. But the truth is that, we're so interdependent in the sense that think about how many luxurious things you have in your life that are simply because of humans having combined forces together. Maybe even something as simple as a house, or an airplane, traveling. How did these things come about? It didn't come about with one person's creation. It comes about through multiple humans combining their forces together. Combined forces. See, some of the best things that are created in life are people coming together and combining forces. But not just people combining forces. It's independent thinkers that understand that they are the healer and that nobody is going to come save them. When these types of individuals combine forces, that's when you get powerful creations. And that's what I believe personally has resulted in such amazing things, again, as houses, apartments, airplanes, technology. These types of things can't just happen with one person. Maybe one person thought of the idea, but then multiple people had to agree to act upon this and play their part to create that result. And to me, that's an amazing thing. Now, the third and final thing that I want to share with you in this video is to understand that if you want to stop waiting to be saved and take your power back, a couple things that I think are very important, just a few things that I think are very valuable, is, of course, discipline, consistency, and excellence. And all these things almost are like synonymous terms, not necessarily, but they're so connected in the sense that, like, if you can become a more disciplined person, you're going to have consistency. Because what is consistency? What is it really other than just simply being disciplined consistently? I'm using the word in the definition, or just being disciplined towards a result. Consistently being disciplined, and I did it again. But that's okay, because the truth is that we really need to have discipline towards a vision. And discipline towards a vision means taking action, even when you don't feel like necessarily doing it, but you just do it anyway. There's going to be imperfections, there's going to be problems, things might not happen exactly how you thought, things might go left a little bit sometimes, they might go right sometimes, they might go backwards even though you didn't expect it. But the truth is that you're disciplined regardless of it. And then doing that over a long period of time, that's what I think excellence is. Like, if you see somebody that's so disciplined, so consistent, and they take so much action that they're doing this over a long period of time, that's what excellence is, in my personal opinion. That's what makes an excellent human being, is consistency through chaos, discipline through chaos. That's excellence. And what you realize is that that's how you stop waiting to be saved. If you want to stop waiting to be saved, choose an identity and then be disciplined consistently towards that vision. That's going to create you to be an excellent human being, an extraordinary human being. How do you become extraordinary? You're consistent. You become really extraordinary by just being consistent, every single day. 0.1% improvements. I really believe in this wholeheartedly, because while everybody else is chasing quick results and quick dopamine rush of whatever they can get in the moment, not thinking about their long-term future, there's other people that are every single day chipping away at a vision, 0.1%. Nobody sees their vision. Nobody believes in it. Maybe they don't even believe in it themselves, but they just take action anyway, every single day, consistently, or not necessarily every single day, but as much as possible that they can do on a consistent basis. This is what creates excellence. That's what creates a human being, where you look at that person and you say, like, how is it that this person might be getting a result, maybe with less force, but another person has more effort, more force, but yet they're not getting results? And the truth is that the person that puts effort and force, usually what happens is that they're never consistent. And they have effort and force and they take lots of action and it's really good stuff, and then it's like they stop and they don't do it for a long time. That's not going to help in the long run. If you want to be in it for the long run, if you want to be a long-term player, if you want to be invested in the long-term game, if you want to play the game long-term, what you have to do is be disciplined consistently every single day and become an excellent human being. And I think that, again, that's what's going to make it so that by the time you do this, by the time you get momentum in a certain direction, by being consistent, by being disciplined, you're not going to be waiting to be saved anymore, because you've long forgotten about it. You've forgotten about being saved. You forget about it all completely. And again, you don't really forget about it because it's always, the wisdom is always there, but you forget it in the sense that it's like it doesn't affect you anymore. Like, if there's zero attachment to anything that has ever happened to you, because now you're just in the flow state, doing whatever it is that you believe you should be doing. And if you know you're being a man of integrity, if you know that you're being a man of discipline or a person of discipline every single day, you will notice that you simply have a better state, because what happens is that you're learning to see that actually you can generate your state from within through decision making, a decision making process and a commitment to a vision. Because some days you might feel happy, some days you might feel a little bit more sad. Of course, every single day you're going to feel different emotions. But the question is, are you willing to take action, even though maybe one day your emotion might be different versus the other day? That's going to be the differentiating factor between the person that takes their power back, realizes that they're going to be the leader to their own success, And then the person that's just waiting for something to happen, they're waiting and waiting, and they're stuck in, there's no proactivity, there's no conscious constructivity or any kind of perspective to create something. They're just a waiting game. And waiting, is not very empowering. You can't be waiting and then feel empowered at the same time. So the key is to make a decision, make a commitment, follow through with the commitment, even if you don't feel like it. And the question is, you don't have to. You might not want to. Nobody's forcing you. But it's just a simple question of like, are you willing to just do it anyway, simply because you know the vision and you know what it is that you want to do?